My voice is not very loud, but I just want to say how pleased Candy and I are to be here. You know, I had a roommate in college, Rod Winecoop, who was from Findlay, Ohio. And he was always telling me about Findlay and how wonderful it was and how peaceful it was. And I can see that that's the case, and there are a lot of very good people here, just like there are all across this country. And the one thing that I want us to remember is that our strength in America is in our unity. And we have to stop listening to the purveyors of division who want to create all kinds of strife in our country. They want a war on women, race wars, income wars, religious wars, age wars, and none of that stuff is true. All we have to do is learn that it's okay to disagree with somebody, and when you do, sit down and have a conversation. Don't get into respective corners, you know. Don't get into our respective corners and hurl insults. You know, when you go on the internet and you look at an article and then you read the comment section, you don't have to go 3 comments down before people start acting like morons. You know, this is not what America is all about. And we have to do better than that. We also have to remember that we have an obligation to the next generation. And we cannot just spend their money. We cannot just be irresponsible fiscally and driving ourselves into incredible debt that eventually that house of cards will collapse. And we don't have to have that happen. We're smart enough. We have the most powerful economic engine the world has ever known. But we have hampered that engine by putting untold regulations around it. People do not have the incentive to work hard anymore. They don't have the incentive to take risk anymore. And you have things like the employer mandate in Obamacare. Now look at what that does. It used to be when people started a new business, they were so excited. And they would call their mom. And they would say, "Mom, I started a new business. I got 10 employees." And then the next year they had 20, and then 30, and then 40. Now they get there and they say, "We better stop, because if we hit 50, that employer mandate kicks in and all our profits are gone." You know, that is absolutely antithetical to what America is. And when we have policies like that that destroy the backbone of America, how in the world are we going to make progress? And what that means is that we, the people, have to be smart enough to recognize that nothing changes unless we get involved.
That's right.
We cannot just sit around and watch what's happening and complain about it. Everybody here has a sphere of influence. And here's what I need you to do. I need you to go out and talk to the people you know who in 2012 did not vote. They've given up, they think their vote doesn't count, and they're leaving it to somebody else, and they're sitting around complaining. Don't do that. Go out and talk to your uncle who hasn't voted in 20 years and is an alcoholic, and all he wants to do is drink beer all day long. And tell him that if he doesn't get on the stick, there won't be any beer left. And you need to go and talk to your grandmother who's in a convalescent home and make sure she has an absentee ballot and help her fill it out when the time comes. And get everybody involved once again. And if people know what's going on and sit down and talk about it and educate yourself, then I believe that we can take our country back. And we have to stop listening to the pundits and to the liberal media and to the professional political class, because they have driven us to this place. We do not need to go where they want us to go. We need to recognize that we have values and principles, and I don't care what they say, this country has a Judeo-Christian foundation. That doesn't mean that we don't welcome everybody, but they don't get to change who we are. We are who we are. We should be proud of who we are. This country is the child of every other country in the world. So we should care about every other country. We should care about their welfare. But we also have an identity of our own. You've heard of people talking about this is the American dream. This is the American way. Have you noticed there's no French way? There's no Brazilian way. There's no Canadian way. There's just an American way. We have something that is unique to us. We do not have to be trying to be like everybody else. Everybody else needs to be like us. Thank you very much.